Welcome back, everyone. This is Alex from Forge, and I know I said I would do a video on basic blacksmithing tools and what you would need to get started. That was probably a couple months ago. I'm going to get started on that. I'm just really busy lately. Blacksmithing is kind of a weekend thing for me. And one thing I wanted to get out of the way first was a review video on the new tool in the shop. This is an 80-pound Colonial Anvil. Now, let's clear some things up. The thing that got your attention, you probably clicked on this because you saw 80-pound anvil, $360. Well, I'm going to level with you. This anvil did not cost $360. It cost $240. The shipping is what bites you in the ass. So it came out to about $360. It's made of ductile iron. Now, ductile iron is on the higher end of cast iron. Now, before you go barking, telling me about cast iron, I know very well, and that's kind of why I defer to my 1900 Columbia over here, because I know just how bad certain types of cast iron are. Cast iron runs the gambit, actually, from really, really crappy, which is probably what you see in Harbor Freight and Northern Tools and a lot of this Chinese-made stuff. But this one is hardened ductile iron, and hardens even further through, constant working. Work hardens, basically. It's made by Fort Vause Outfitters in Connecticut. I have a link in the description section below. It's the PET-80 model, or C80, Colonial, and sports 5-inch face, 10 inches long. It says 3/4 of an inch hardy hole, but not really. It's a hair under it, and that's probably just because of the artifact of the casting inside, so I think I cleaned that up a little bit. I know that because my hardy tools for my Columbia over here don't really fit on here, so it's just a matter of cleaning up. When I bought this anvil, because it's cast in very much the molded form, it had a line kind of from the casting running across here, which the owner of the company kind of roughly cleans off and leaves it up to the end buyer to do the rest of the work. So I spent the better part of an hour and 30 minutes, I guess, cleaning it up, polishing it off, radiusing the edge right here, just enough for what I do. So far, it's held up, but because it's ductile iron, I don't want to give anyone the illusion that this is going to be some high-grade tool steel. It's not. But it fits a niche that I think is pretty popular among reenactors, or people who just want something big in the shop with this classic look to it, which is kind of why I got it. I love the Colonial anvils, preferably the hornless ones, the hourglass-shaped ones. And this is probably the closest thing I can find to that traditional shape without having to buy an original. It bridges the gap between being a workhorse and being a portable anvil. I can pick it up, carry it where I need to. At only 80 pounds, it's not that big of a deal. I don't want to carry this one around for demos. That's another reason why I bought this. Now, another thing I need to address is, as you saw, there is no pritchel hole. I'd suggest using a bolster block like this to do your work on a traditional style looking anvil like this or whatever. It helps you punch cleaner holes anyway, so go with that. Really short horn, 5 inches. But that's not too bad. I mean, you can get used to doing radiuses off the edge of the anvil and clever hammering work, which is what I really try to do as much as I can before I defer to the horn or any number of jigs I have back here. What can I say about it other than it is what it is? It has not as good of a rebound, obviously, but it rings like a full-on anvil, versus this 1900 Columbia, which I can guarantee you is a tool steel face cast body and is really, really good. But see, it doesn't have the same bounce, obviously. It does mar up, and I've been noticing that because I've been using it more often than the big one back here, if I can try. And if you're looking to get started in blacksmithing and you're looking for an affordable anvil, if you want to go with something like this, that's your prerogative. Just be very aware that if your hammer blows aren't exactly correct and you're not hitting right on that hot steel, you are going to mar up the face of this. Albeit nowhere near as bad as a cheap Harbor Freight anvil or the Northern Tools 60-pound one. This is going to hold up a lot better than that, that's for sure. I've noticed that it has started to work harden right in the general center, and that's because I can take good hammer strikes to it and I'm not seeing any dings anymore. So the work hardening is definitely happening, albeit not fast enough for me. Other tools. The owner of the company has a number of different items. Just click the link in the description below. He has a PDF on there with a price list, and he runs the gambit from small Viking style anvils all the way up to, you know, this one. I think this is the biggest one, the heaviest in his shop. But he has stake anvils, the little 4x4 block stump anvils, and the little stump anvils, if I remember correctly, are $45 a piece and probably $13 shipping. If you're looking to get into something quick, or that's probably a good start, unless you can find a piece of wide enough rail. I would suggest that too. But I decided I'd put an honest review out here. Is it going to hold up as well as the tool steel or the 5160 one I got down here? No, it's not. Will it eventually? Maybe, with work hardening, but that's probably going to be a year into really working on this. And the thing is, I'm probably only going to use this for demos and defer to all my big stuff on the other anvil back here. Other than that, I really don't have much to say about it. Granted, I am a little disappointed in how it does mar up the face a little bit. And I do use pretty heavy hammers actually, so that is a big concern. When you start hammering with something like this, I made this one a while back. It's a 4140 Japanese style hammer here. This is really going to knock some horrible dings into something like this. So, if you're going to be hammering with a big hammer and this is your goal here, I would suggest going with something else, or putting aside so you get that big old Kanka, Pettinghouse, Reiflinghaus, or TFS, or Emerson anvil, all of which you can find in different stores online. But that's pretty much all I want to talk about. It's okay. I'm not giving it glowing praise. I love the shape. I really love early ironwork, and being a Colonial shape, it definitely fits that little bit of me that wanted a traditional looking anvil, and this is definitely fits the mold. Had I known how much it dings up early on, I probably would have set aside and picked up a TFS anvil or an Emerson. But all in all, I'm not too disappointed in it. It's nice, it holds up. Just a little bit of dressing involved at the very beginning, and that's probably going to be the more time-consuming part, I think, is cleaning this up with a grinder and then some flat discs. And if you're not very coordinated with those, I would suggest you defer to using strict flat disc only. That'll take a while, but there's less likelihood of you really digging into the surface with the flat discs than the hard grinding wheel. And all in all, it's got a great shape, and because of how wide the body is here, a lot of the force, you know, kind of bounces right back into your work across a greater space than your more traditional one that has a very narrow waist right about here. So it's real stout. You're going to have a good striking surface all across, albeit it does mar up. Well, that's kind of all I want to say. If you're interested, just take a look at the description below. See what Henry's got on his site. And, you know, feel free to shoot him a couple of questions. You know, this is kind of a side business for him, but he does do a lot of rounds in the reenactment community up there in the New England area. So obviously a lot of Revolutionary War stuff that goes on. He's involved at those different events. So sometimes he's not exactly the easiest to get a hold of. But I paid for this over the phone. He sent it to me as soon as possible. I got it early the next week, so probably about 5 days. And you know, I'm happy with the contact and the shipping and all that. Could have been worse. But, you know, it's not going to be your only Anvil. This is certainly not going to stay with me forever. Eventually I am going to get a 70-pound Kanka or a small petting house if I can help it. Not a rigid petting house, a real one. And that's probably it. I've said that a million times, so let me get on with the day. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, just post a message down below, send me a message privately, or check out my work on Facebook, also in the description section below. And now I can finally get started on the intro video to blacksmithing. So if you have any specific questions, let me know. You know, this is the learning process, and I'm learning as I go too, albeit I've gotten a lot more experience now. But send me some questions so I know what to answer. And, you know, we'll talk about forge design and how to build a forge, what kind of forges are available, and you know what, I think we can put together a good video as long as I'm getting some comments from the YouTube audience here and from my Facebook page. So just send me a line and I'll start working on that next week. I'm really busy this week and probably next week, but I'm trying to do a video next weekend. Alright, thank you very much.